Hi guys, welcome back to Golden Reviewer. So here I have the Galaxy Z Fold 3 and the Z Fold 2. The brand new Z Fold 3 has a Snapdragon 888 SoC, and the Z Fold 2 uses a Snapdragon 865 Plus SoC. So today we are going to do some benchmark tests and compare these two devices to see how much the Z Fold 3 improves the performance over its predecessor. And let's start with Antutu Benchmark. So both of the devices are in airplane mode, and I make sure that they do not have any background processes running, and the temperature are cool to the touch before the benchmark starts. And here let's fast forward to the end to check out the results. Okay, so here we see that the Snapdragon 888 in the Z Fold 3 is overall about 10% faster than the Snapdragon 865 Plus in the Z Fold 2. However, I think something is worth noting is that the Z Fold 2 only used 5% of battery for the full benchmark, while the Z Fold 3 used 7%. And the Z Fold 3 also has a higher temperature after the test. This means that the Z Fold 3 is actually using more power and generating more heat in this Antutu benchmark. Next, we'll do a 3DMark stress test. In this benchmark, the GPU heavy test will keep running for about 20 minutes. The result of this test is very indicative of sustained performance when you do heavy gaming. Alright, let's fast forward for this test as well and check out the final results. Okay, so here we see that the starting performance of the Z Fold 3 is higher than that of the Z Fold 2. However, the Z Fold 2 is more stable in maintaining its performance. So after 20 minutes of heavy testing, the Z Fold 2 actually outperforms the Z Fold 3. And then of course we have a higher stability score of 80% comparing to the Z Fold 3's 60%. So it seems that the overall GPU efficiency has not improved that much from the Z Fold 2 to Z Fold 3. Okay, lastly, we'll use Geekbench 5 to test the pure CPU performance. And for this test, we'll manually run it for a few times, not only one time, to see how the devices are able to sustain the CPU performance rather than just testing for the peak performance for once. Okay, so I'll fast forward during the test process and just directly show you the results from each of the tests. In total, we run the benchmark for about 6 times. And I think both devices perform reasonably well in this test. We see almost no performance degradation for the single core performance, while for multi-core performance, they both drop a little bit, but maybe very little, maybe less than 10-5%. But I think another interesting thing to note is that the finished temperature of the Z Fold 2 is 38 degrees, while for the Z Fold 3 is 40 degrees. And for this whole test, the Z Fold 2 used 7% of battery, while Z Fold 3 used 9% of battery. So it seems that the Snapdragon 888 improves the performance a little bit, but the efficiency is not as good as the Snapdragon 865. Okay guys, so that's all for today's test comparison. I think my conclusion from this test is that you shouldn't expect too much of performance improvements or efficiency improvements of the silicon from the Z Fold 2 to Z Fold 3, right? The Z Fold 3 improves on a lot of small things like the build quality, the UDC and everything. But the one thing that you should not expect a huge improvement is the SoC. And I have to say this again, the Snapdragon 888 is really disappointing this year. Alright guys, thanks for watching and see you next time.